What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. It's Crystal, your favorite social worker, and we need to talk about the lack of funding for the SNAP program and how that could potentially affect millions of Americans across this country. For a little bit of background, I've worked as a SNAP caseworker for over 6 years, and I have processed hundreds of SNAP and Medicaid cases. I create content on this channel about all things social work, including but not limited to updates and explanations about various social service programs, commentary about current events, as well as movie and show reviews from a social worker's perspective. So if you're interested in any of that, hit the subscribe button to join the family. Now, in my last government shutdown video, I explained that SNAP was fine for the month of October and that I'll update you guys if something changes for November. Well, things are starting to change. This shutdown is on day 23 at the time I'm recording this video, and programs that are typically funded by the federal government are starting to run out of funds. Now, I don't know what the hell Congress is doing, because last I heard, they have not even been in session since September 19th, 2025. So while American families are worried if they are going to be able to eat for the Thanksgiving holiday, Congress is at home on vacation and have been for about a month. This has pissed so many people off. I posted a video about this over on my TikTok. And if you're on TikTok and you're interested in social work stuff, mental health stuff, discounts for low-income families, and updates on social service programs like SNAP, WIC, and Medicaid, go ahead and give me a follow. So because the last budget ended on September 30th, 2025, there is no current budget for programs like SNAP or WIC. And this is for all 50 states. Thankfully, WIC was just given a $300 million grant, so that program should be fine to run as normal for now. SNAP, however, is very much at risk. If a budget is not passed before October 27th, the states will run out of money for this program. If a state has the funds to support November SNAP without help from the federal government, then I'm assuming that they will. But a lot of states have already came out and said that they just don't have the money to do that. Now, I had a lot of people in my comments saying things like, oh, it's just red states, or I'm sure it's just blue states. No, the lack of funding applies to all states, not just red or blue. I really wish y'all stopped trying to categorize different stuff like this is a blue problem, this is a red problem, like we all don't live in the same damn country. It's getting annoying. So here's a list of all the states that have come out and said that they do not have the money to support November's benefits without the government's help. And as you can see, these are both red and blue states. We all live in the same country, y'all. 42 million people will not have access to food if their benefits are not issued. This includes working families who simply don't make enough to pay bills and buy food. Our disabled population who depend on this program to assist them with buying food because the Social Security benefits that they receive simply isn't enough. And our elderly retirees who depend on this program to help them eat month after month. The biggest lie that was ever told in the past few years is that everyone on the SNAP program is just a lazy, able-bodied person that chooses not to work to receive $200 a month in SNAP benefits. Trust me, nobody is going to not go to work for $200 a month. And food stamps can't buy diapers, shoes, pay bills, or buy school supplies. So why would anybody choose not to work just to get a little bit of money in SNAP benefits? It doesn't make sense. I've done this job for a long time, and I've met so many people who come into my office and cry because they are so embarrassed that their family needs SNAP benefits. They are so afraid of the stigma associated with SNAP that they just break down in tears. But this is my opinion, and I'll say it every time. There's absolutely nothing wrong with receiving government assistance, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. That is what these programs are here for. And choosing to starve and neglect your kids because you're working 4 to 5 jobs just so you can say that you've never had government assistance is not the flex that you think it is. You pay into this system, so you should be able to get help anytime you need it. And you should not have to work 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs just to put food on the table. So if you need it, go get the help. There's nothing wrong with that. So if you or someone you know receives SNAP benefits, please tell them to spend their October's benefits wisely, because you may not be issued any more benefits until the shutdown ends. Now, if that happens, you should, in theory, receive back pay for the months of SNAP you missed once the shutdown is over. But considering the fact that he said that he may not even pay federal workers their back pay and they have been working for free, I'm not sure that he'll pay SNAP recipients theirs. So if federal workers don't get paid, I wouldn't hold my breath waiting for SNAP recipients to get back pay for missed food stamps.
42 million people could be going without food by November if there's no resolution, because their SNAP/food stamp benefits will be cut off. Did you know that approximately 40% of the SNAP recipients are children? Children. And majority of the rest are people who are vulnerable. So elderly people, people with disabilities, people who are not physically able to provide for themselves. There are people in our country right now who tell their kids every night that they're not hungry because the SNAP benefits that they get are only enough to provide food for their children. So when their children look at them and say, "Mommy, Daddy, Grandma, Auntie, Uncle, why aren't you eating?" They're saying, "I'm not hungry," because they don't have enough money to buy food for them and their children. I want you to understand that the SNAP benefits that people are already receiving are not enough to feed people and their families. And that doesn't even account for people who live in food deserts, where their local supermarket and the only place that they can get fresh produce is miles and miles away, but people are not receiving pay. So they may not be able to pay their car note. They may not be able to put gas in their vehicle. They may already be having to decide between groceries or paying their mortgage or their rent. They might be on their way to eviction. And the cost of living is already absolutely unlivable. And now people stand to lose the only access they have to food. Scary times.
If you are naive enough to think that the pause to SNAP benefits on November 1st isn't going to affect you because you don't receive food stamps, I want you to hear this. About 1 in 8 Americans receive SNAP benefits. In fact, in Oklahoma, where I live, that's 1 in 6 people. So about 600,000 people in my state alone, Oklahoma, receive SNAP benefits. About 1 in 4 children in the U.S. receive SNAP benefits. But you're not one of those people, so you don't care. But hang with me. When those benefits go away, just about $9 billion in grocery spending vanishes. So you've got to be thinking about not just the grocery stores being able to stay open and pay their employees, but you have to think about the entire supply chain, trucks on the road, people who provide food to these grocery stores. $9 billion. Every dollar spent in SNAP benefits adds about $1.50 to $1.80 to the economy. So cutting those benefits isn't saving that dollar, it's taking away that $1.50 to your local economy. But you don't receive SNAP benefits, you don't work for a grocery store, you don't drive a truck, you don't give a shit. But when all of those things happen, the only way to combat that is to drastically increase the price of groceries. Grocery prices are already up over 3% in 2025 alone, which is almost an entire percentage higher than the average increase in grocery prices over the last 20 years. I thought they were supposed to go down day one though. So even if SNAP benefits only pause for 1 month, which by the way would be detrimental to all the people I mentioned before that you don't give a shit about, it will cost the economy roughly $13 to $14 billion in profit. And you can expect your grocery prices in just that 1 month to go up at least 1%. And states will stand to lose about $300 to $500 million in sales tax revenue. So even if you do not receive SNAP benefits, you never have, you never will, you do not want these to be paused on November 1st.
Get ready with me to prepare for having our food stamps cut.
Morning, I called my local DSS office and I asked them to confirm whether or not what I was hearing was true, knowing it was true, that SNAP benefits are not coming next month. And she said, yeah, no, you're right, they're not coming. I said, okay, well, I hadn't heard anything, confirming what I'm hearing. So I was just calling to check. And she said, you're not going to hear anything. And I said, well, why? And she said, well, your local DSS are trying to figure out what's going on, but the state DSS is not planning on telling anybody what's going on. They're not planning on letting the citizens know that they're not going to get their food stamps next month.
So as you can see, people are really worried about the potential of their SNAP benefits not being available next month. I received so many comments on both YouTube and TikTok of parents, seniors, and people with disabilities worried about how they're going to feed themselves if this shutdown continues, which is why I have a link in my channel description to a resource that will show you a list of local food pantries near you. All you have to do is enter your zip code and it will show you a list of local food pantries in your area. There is also a website called Lasagna Love. On this website, you can request to receive a fully cooked lasagna delivered to your house for free. I think this is such an awesome idea. My daughter told me about this website and I just think that it's so cool. We are actually going to sign up for this website as volunteers so we can make lasagnas for families in need. So that's a resource that you guys can use as well. So that's what's happening right now. and things could potentially change if this shutdown ends. In the meantime, I'll keep you guys updated as this crazy situation changes. As a social worker, it is my duty to protect and serve vulnerable populations. This is my thing. It is my jam. And I love what I do because I've been there before. I had someone tell me yesterday that everyone on these programs are lazy and uneducated. And that is simply not true. I use these programs to work my way through college, to put myself in a better income bracket, and to help provide for myself and my family. I'm actually thinking about doing a story time about my experience on some of these social service programs like SNAP, TANF, low-income housing. When I started on these programs, I was a high school dropout. When I finished, I had a master's degree. So if you guys want to hear my story and want me to make a video about that, let me know down in the comments. Please don't judge people on these programs. Anyway, that's my rant. Make sure you like the video if it was helpful and subscribe for more breakdowns and updates. And if you need help, please check out those resources linked in my description. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.